another week of NewOrleans.Football. I'm your host, Kevin Washington. I'm here with Nick Underhill, the man behind NewOrleans.Football, the brains behind the operation. Nick, what's up, man? You already look like you syncing it up. You busy, you shaking and moving already. You ain't paying no attention to me. What's up, man? I'm here. Give me some.
I had to send a tweet out. I had to let them know we're live, man.
You're into me, man. Come on, man.
Just came back from the golf course. I'm a little red. You know, I didn't take the sunscreen out there. I thought I could get away with it. I got cocky, and the sun reminded me that I am not built to be out in the sun like that.
So, what do you have against sunscreen?
I have nothing against sunscreen, man.
You do.
There's just arrogance. You know, like I kind of think that, like, you know, yeah, I can go out there and I'm gonna, you know, just Captain America the sun or something, and it ain't gonna get me. And here we are.
Can I remind you of your lack of pigmentation?
Yeah, no, it's definitely there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's like it's some benefits and not so good benefits. Like,
yeah.
So just, you know, get a little sunscreen. I can send you some. I know your address. I can Amazon. You know, just I can send you the good brand. My wife got the ones with the non-animal products and stuff. I can hook you up, man.
It was worth it though, man. We got to do some interviews in person for the first time, and
that's right. 2
years. I don't know how long it's been. A year, I guess. A year plus. It's been a really long time.
That's a good point.
It was normal, man. People, a lot of, you know, again, everybody can make their do whatever is best for you, but like you know, people being vaccinated and stuff, like getting some normalcy back. It's been nice. It's been nice to have some normal stuff happen. So
yeah, and listen, man, I'll say it. I got my vaccine, you know, 2 weeks ago. Johnson & Johnson. I'm still good, y'all. I know all the little stuff. Just not a vax pot, so we moving on. But if I'm vaccinated, my friend's vaccinated, we chilling. That's what the CDC said. I'm just following the rules, man.
Yeah, no, that was good, man. So yeah, and look, I thought it was at least somewhat informative too. I wish we would have had a little more time.
Yeah.
You know, normally there's an hour-long meeting with Peyton at the owners' meetings. Obviously, that didn't happen this year. There's time with him at the combine. Obviously, that didn't happen this year. Got about 15, 20 minutes today. You know, hit on some broader topics, draft topics.
You got to get him on the pod, man. Come on, Sean. I know you're listening.
So, you know, I thought there were a couple of informative things. You know, him saying that cornerback was a must position. Obviously, that's something we all see, but you know, that's confirmation of it.
Right.
You know, he really reiterated his confidence in the quarterbacks they have right now. You know, I still think that door is open to some degree, but it's not a must. And I don't think we would have considered it a must either. You can go forward with the guys you have. And then the other thing, asked him, by the way, I had like clips set up that I was going to play on here of him talking, but I don't have the cord to hook it up to my things. So
I'm prepared, man.
Come on. I got to cord it. It's got a female end and I needed a male end. It's got the aux on the one end and it's like a female XLR. And I needed a male. So yeah, it didn't work out.
What happened to the joint we bought with the little live? That's the same one that we bought like 3 years ago.
The mixer? No, I still got the mixer, man. Yeah, I got something else running right now, but yeah, the mixer's still here. But yeah, the last thing though is him just saying that, you know, some of the biggest areas in need were or the deeper positions in the draft. Deeper positions in the draft for tight end and offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't be the Saints if they didn't, you know, draft an O-line. They're going to definitely pick an offensive lineman in the first round. drive Saints Twitter like just absolutely crazy. It's so funny, man. Like, so I had someone ask me, it was like, Kevin, like, and I remember it happened last year. Like, how do you feel about them drafting the O-line in the first round? I'm like, I'm fine with it. Like, if that's, you know, that's who they like. I'm not one of those guys who watch a player fall in love with them and then like lose my mind when the Saints don't draft them. I just think, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's healthy for me. So typically I'm cool with whoever they draft because I can understand it, right? And I guess my approach is like, I don't have to agree with the decisions that they make. I just have to understand the decisions that they make. And that's where I kind of draw the line, right? If they do something I can't explain it, then, you know, maybe a little rant is warranted. But if you could see like what they were thinking, look, man, I think that's the best way to approach it. Only Italians can tan without sunscreen. Your Nordic side.
When they draft someone, like probably one of the things I'm not normally like angry or.
Your audio went like super low. I don't know what just happened.
Sorry. So when they draft someone, normally I don't have like a hot take on it either. Like it's like, okay, we'll see how this works. Like it's the same thing. Like it's just kind of, you see how the process plays out. Like I have guys I like in every draft, but they don't take them fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. You know what? It might mean there's something wrong with my evaluation. Like, let's just see how it plays out. Like, exactly. I'm not arrogant enough to think that like every player I like is the right player and every player I dislike is the wrong player. It's just, maybe I'm wrong and I'm going to wait and see how it is. And then I'll evaluate it as it goes along. But to be like that passionate about it, that's just not
weird. Yeah. It's a little,
it's just not the way I go about. Oh, they reached. Well, did they?
Did they?
I don't know. Where did the Bills have this gentleman ranked? Like, you just don't know.
No, I'm with you. The crazy part is like the draft is like, if you get a draft pick right, say there's a player and you like them, you watch his tape and he turns out good. You like at least 50% of every evaluation that someone makes, and I'm just talking like guys who are not associated with a football team, is guesswork. It's totally guesswork because if a guy's good, that means he ended up most guys ended up in the right scheme in the right place, right? There's probably a lot of good players who would have been good if they were in a different situation, right? So first and foremost, two, like the stuff that we don't know is the most important part, is like how a guy is wired, right? So say I'm a defensive player and I am in love with anime or something crazy or video gaming, and that don't come out in evaluations, but the tape looks great. Well, once I get my money, if I started becoming addicted to gaming, that's hard to pick up, right? The tape could still be good, but there's things that you just don't know about a player if you're not able to interview him. So, a guy may hate football, right, but just want to do it enough to make money. Like there's so much stuff that people on the outside looking in, like we don't have access to. So I think anyone, if you're guessing at best, right? It's just guesswork. And for football teams with more information, they're guessing too. So, I'm not one of them dudes who get hung up on like, oh, I got this guy right, I got this guy wrong, because I don't get trophies for it. No one cares. Even though I bring it up on here sometime for jokes. But yeah, I'm with you. I just don't know if it's like worth it just to be like, oh, well, you like this player, you didn't like this player, so you're bad at this. It's like, what's the purpose, man? It's just.
I'm gonna make like one of the weirdest podcast flexes of all time. But I was about to say when you were done talking, like, yeah, like look, sometimes you get guys right, and sometimes you have like embarrassing draft takes. And I was like gonna say like, yeah, like Michael Thomas, but in 2015, the player I wrote about from that draft, I said I think this is the best pick they made in this draft was PJ Williams, and I was like gonna say that was wrong, and then I just looked, and it's like he really might have been the best.
He really might have been the best player.
Pete, Stephon Anthony, Kakaha, Grayson, PJ Davis-Tall, Tyler Davison. Wow. Might have been a better pick than him. Pete was probably, technically a better pick than him.
He got the second contract.
Jamin, Marcus Millie. Yeah. PJ's gotten like 9 contracts, so
he got like a lot more than Andrews Pete. That's a good point. That's funny.
Like a ton of 1-year contracts. But yeah, no, like he really might have been like he's the second best player from that class, probably.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That
was like the draft that Ireland came in and had like 90 days. But that's like really not an Ireland draft. Yeah. But he got hired in
February,
yeah. And then I had to do the draft. Yeah.
I remember that year. So hey, I mean, look, man, all props to people who get their draft booze right and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's just one of those things where it's guessing. If engineer, man, if you guessed, then you don't get full credit. That's how we rock. Hey, so
yeah, I did 19 mock drafts and I got this guy right in one of them.
Bro, I hate that, bro. And they pull up that one mock draft where they got the guy right.
What about like your mock draft 19.0? Yo, the other thing in mock draft culture that I could not stand is they'll be like mock draft 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. It's like, yo, just say mock draft 1. Mock draft 2. You don't need the 0.0 because you aren't doing iterations of 1.
Where's mock draft 2.1?
Yeah, you're like, hey, I changed pick 98. It's like that's it. Like no, that would be when you need the 1 point whatever. Yeah. Yes.
I injected a trade into this draft after talking to a GM or something.
Yes. Everything else is the same. Oh, okay.
That's a good point. Man. I'm gonna tweet that to somebody. Like, just put one behind it, bro. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Hey, speaking of flex, Jameis, man, he talking a little greasy out there. I mean, that coming. He said I went from being a number 1 draft pick to everyone laughing at me. But guess what? I'm about that business. When you say I'm about that business, like that's a confrontational sentence.
Absolutely.
He was like inviting. He was like, I'm working harder than anyone in my position, and Dak.
He's like, I see you, Dak.
Yeah, over Dak over there. He was like, you too, though. And I was like, if I'm Taysom, I'm like going straight to the gym.
that was kind of like a polite version of the control verse. Like he was just putting everybody on notice. Like, and I see you, and you're on this list too, Dak.
Yeah. Taysom gonna pull a champagne poppy. He just don't stop interacting with him. They ain't gonna be cool no more.
Half our audience has no idea what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I know. My bad, y'all. But listen, I mean, if I'm the other quarterback, like that's kind of he put you on notice, man. He put you on notice. He posting. And look, man, I don't think we should get worked up over workout videos. I don't think that's fair. There are some players who I would like to see a workout video from. I'll be honest with you. At least let me know that you're thinking about football. I'm not gonna say any names, but I don't know, man. He seems like he's putting in the work. Like it feels like I don't know, man. Jameis got to be good because he's making it. Like he's giving all the signs.
Yo, like maybe I want to be a believer too, but I think like it's just I got to see it.
I went from getting attacked by Jameis Hive to being like the president. like, come on, man. Like, I got the Jameis Hive like invite me to their little get-togethers and stuff, their little secret discords.
Yo, I definitely believe like everything he says is the right thing. There's no doubt about it. Everything he says is the absolute right thing. And it's funny because somebody tweeted at me earlier. They're like, hey, like I went back, I watched like the Hard Knock season, blah blah blah. It's like there's no way. And it's like, yeah, I think Jameis did some weird stuff on there, but I think he's learned from that. And I think we got to judge him from where he's at going forward. I think mentally he's in a really, really good space. There's no doubt about it. His mental space is elite right now. But we haven't seen him throw a football, make a decision, try to read cover 6, anything like that. So
that's fair.
That's where it's going to come down to. But yeah, I think he seems extremely confident. He knows he was kind of down bad and he's coming up from it and he's using that as motivation. I think he's looking at it the right way. I think he's probably embracing this competition where I think it could be very easy for a guy at his stature, his draft status to be like, why am I going up against this, guy that moonlights as an H-back? Like you could go at this in a very negative way. And I don't think he's taking it that way. I think he's taking everything in stride the right way, looking at it. Yeah. I'm encouraged by his words. Like if we were giving all pros off words, like he's all pro speaker right now, but we got to see him play. We definitely got to see him play.
Yeah, he's definitely writing a book on like generating an off-season hype train, like textbook. I mean, he's drawing up the blueprint as good as anyone ever has. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. He better be good. That's all I'm saying. Like, don't play with me, man. Don't Jameis. Like, let's get this, man. Let's get this. All right, so guys, the draft is coming up it's the 27th. I think it's the 27th, Thursday through Saturday. And so last week we looked at a cornerback, and you guys can go back and listen to that. We spoke about Caleb Farley, who I don't know if we super conveyed it, like during the pod, but we both we both love this tape. Right? If the medicals checked out, then that'd be a good signing. But we went in depth, spoke about things that we thought that he did well, things that
I'll go a step further on. I think he's my favorite cornerback outside of the top 2, probably.
I could see someone saying he's cornerback 1. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Just based on the tape alone. I understand.
I don't know if I go there. I don't know if I go all the way there. I probably have a certain
the kid from
above
Alabama.
Him. Yeah, and probably JC.
Yeah, JC, I'm a little. Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I mean, I'm trying to see if he's going to be good, and if good, and that's not the right way to put it. But like, I think there's some things. I mean, he's like all these guys got stuff to clean up, but he has certain things that I think are a little bit harder to clean up. I think he's like a lot more grabby, and Farley was grabby at times. I think Horn was like even more. And that can always be tricky, but yeah, I don't know, man. I could understand someone seeing him as CB1. Like I would get it. I don't know if do I agree with it. I don't know. I think maybe 2. I think maybe the kid from Alabama is probably definitely CB1. I could see Farley being like 2, an easy 2, depending on like your preference, right?
Yeah, I mean that's I wouldn't like get in a heated argument with someone over like putting them at 2. The back thing does exist, but yeah, without the back thing, like him versus Newsome, I think it's easy to go with Farley. Yeah, I mean, no, 100%.
It's not even close to me.
I like Newsome. I think Newsome's good. I think he's a good player, but yeah, I mean Farley, if he was healthy, there was no back issue. He didn't opt out, all that stuff. Like I think that he's probably very easily in the first half of the draft. Yeah. Very, very easily. Yeah. I think there's probably a good chance he's there at 28.
Yeah. I mean, I think based on his tape, I think he can be a number 1 cornerback for a team. That's
I think he can develop into it. Yeah. I don't know if he's ready right now, but yeah, I mean, look, the thing, like we pointed it out before, like he's new to the position, and he's this good already. Before we get into the next thing, let's get people sign up for the show. We'll give them a shout out. We still got t-shirts available. Go to the site, NewOrleans.Football /shop. And again, we got the code going, $12 off annual plan with the code year2. So sign up for that. Get the discount, support us, keep it going. We're still growing, doing some new things. So all that. So yeah, we're gonna evaluate some linebackers. I'll let you intro it. I'm gonna say let me ask you this first.
Get your shirt, guys. Just saying,
like,
man.
Perfect world, it's cornerback in the first round, right?
Perfect world, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not even close.
Yeah, perfect not world. Even close. Yeah. If the player is there and the need matches, like in the talent it matches, like, you know, best player or someone in that bubble, that's how you draw it up. I mean, cornerback is a big need. It's a really big need, man.
Massive.
Like linebacker is a big need too. But you can convince yourself that maybe they can figure something out. You know,
maybe Chase Hanson's good, and it's all fine.
Maybe Zach Bond figures it out in year 2. Maybe Quan Alexander, who's running now, maybe they sign him for the vet minimum, and he's good by week 5 or something, and healthy enough. You know, I don't know, man, but just cornerback is like you putting P-Rob or PJ out there or Keith Washington. Like, and then the coach just told us today that's
and you can't hide a cornerback. You can hide a linebacker.
That's good.
You can't hide. You cannot.
Yeah. They have to draft a quarter. Well, depends on, right, if they sign a guy in free agency, and we'll see. But like, I just don't think you want to be in that position. I don't think they should be in the position that they're in right now, right? Because if you don't draft a guy, then you're kind of forcing yourself to, you know, you got to go get a guy in free agency, and now the leverage is not there, right? The leverage shifts to the player. So I don't know, man. Draft. I think they got to draft one, at least in the first couple of rounds, first 3 rounds, maybe.
You land Caleb Farley and he's healthy.
Oof.
Like
still
cutting Jackrabbit ends up being a
smart move. It ends up being
a good thing. You turn the negative into a positive, because you're probably, if you don't have to cut him, you probably aren't drafting this guy. Like, just being real, like you're probably looking somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, linebacker. You know, you go to one of your other needs, maybe offensive skill position, something that some other perceived need. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean,
so yeah, I mean, I guess short term, like, yeah, if they have Jackrabbit and they get one of these top linebackers, yeah, maybe you're better now. But I think the long term play, like if you end up with Caleb Farley and you match him with Marshawn Lattimore, like long term, it's a long term win. Because look, Jackrabbit, a year or 2, and you know, it's probably well onto the back 9 by then.
Absolutely, he probably had another year of the play that he gave you last year, and then, you know, maybe 2 if he's. But for the most part, those. I mean, that's a position where you can't hide athleticism, right? I mean, I remember the kid that came out of Florida. It was I forget his name. He was
Tease Tabor.
Yeah. And like, he had good tape, but he wasn't fast. His hips were a little tight, and I feel like if you give him the body of someone like a cornerback that was talented, like a Trey Waynes or something, the guy may be a freaking Pro Bowler, right? But it's just, you can't hide athleticism at that position. And once you start to lose it, then you can't, like, just the Tyreek Hill, like, you can't cover guys like that. So it is one of those positions where, like you said, I mean, that clock start ticking, and you got to start finding that next guy, or that's a position that you can't hide. You're gonna be putting the safety on top of him all game, trying to cover Captain Ridley with Julio on the other side. So you make a good point. So we'll see. I definitely think they got to do something with cornerback in this draft. And if, like we said last pod, if Caleb Farley, is it Farley? I think it's Farley. Yeah, if he's the guy. Is it Farley? Okay. Yeah, Farley. Yeah, I just look.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's the guy, that means the medical checked out, and that I think he can be like he could be one of the better, like, cornerback 2s in this league, because I think he has cornerback 1 traits. So, but we're here to talk some linebackers. Let's start with we're gonna talk about 2 guys this pod. Last pod we only did 1, and we're gonna do 2 because that's what Nick told me to do. So he the boss, and that's what we're gonna roll with. So the first guy, linebacker from Kentucky, Jamin Davis. And you want to go first on him, or you want me to kind of kick it off? And
you can lead on him. I'll go first on the other guy.
You're gonna take my favorite prospect? That's kind of dirty, bro. I knew you was gonna do that. I should have just told you to go first and just
I'll start with Kentucky. I'll start a little bit with him.
Go ahead. I think you may be a little different on him, so I think that's gonna be fun. Maybe not. We'll see though. Let's go.
All right, so I'm just reading down my notes. I think he's a really good run defender. He's explosive going downhill. He diagnoses plays really well. He gets off blocks well. He's a strong, big body guy. And all those traits really show up for him. He's not going to get caught up in the wash or anything. Like, he can be, like, the forceful guy in some of those situations. Whereas with some of this, I think linebackers, and Wills especially, league wide, the average weight for those guys, starting Will linebackers, is 234. But I think if you probably looked over the last 5-6 years, that number is probably closer to 225. Like, they've gotten smaller, and he's kind of like in that bigger mold. I think he's explosive. He's good in coverage. I saw him follow some wheel routes up the field, and it was just no issue at all. Like, he can get down the field really quick, and he's fluid in his movements. He drops well. He can turn and go really well for a guy his size. I think he's a really good athlete, and he time well. The one thing that I didn't like about him, and look, he has sideline to sideline, and he can get up and go when he wants to, but there's times where it looks like he's not moving as fast as he should.
You don't play up to his play speed, you think?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes he hits it, and other times it's like, why is this guy, like, he should be going? Like, it looks like he's just not going 100%. But overall, scale 1 to 10, he's a 7.5, 8 to me. I think the one thing that scares me about him is that, he's a little bit inexperienced. He has 1 year of good tape. But, he is what he is. And I think there's a lot of upside with him. And I think he's really good right now.
All right, man. No, I think we agree on a lot of things. I think we just got a new sub. I think I see something in chat. So, we always like to show a little love to the people who support it's a movement, man. That's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it a movement. So but yeah, I'll get started on my take on them. So I'll be honest with you. It took me some time to kind of like figure out exactly. Yeah, there we go. That's the one that I saw in chat. Yeah, it took me some time to figure out, like, to get my evaluation on him. Right, he was like one of those guys where I had to keep watching him, watch some more tape, watch some more plays, because in some with a linebacker, there could be plays where it's running away from him, things are not coming his way, just things are not moving, and you really can't really get a feel for the player, and that's kind of what that's why I struggled with him at first. And so, like, I try not to, we try not to give each other too much of the evaluation, because it's kind of good to get in a live reaction. But I text you, I was like, not really feeling it. And then you liked him. I was like, dang, okay, this is going to be fun. But then I put on that Florida tape, and that Florida tape is wild. That game against Florida, he was like, that's a first round player. Like, when he ran with Kyle Pitts up the seam, I was like, wow, okay, like he can do that. He can do that. And I didn't get to see him play a lot of man coverage in the beginning of the first games I was watching. I was like, I don't know if he can do this. But then I saw him make some plays and covers down the seam. I mean, his speed it shows out on tape. That play against Kyle Pitts, he flipped his hips like it was effortless. Like he didn't even try. Like he was running one direction and he just flipped him and was moving like he was born to do that. So athletically, he's everything that you want in a linebacker. Like he has it, right? I mean, he's got size. He's not one of these small linebackers. But you get the speed, the range, you get all of that with it. So that's the first thing that stood out. Like he matches today's NFL, right? And that's the first thing I give him. I thought that I think I feel a little bit different about him in the run game. I think that he has times where he flashes and where he hits a guy. Like I've seen him like hit a guy and the guy stops moving. But then there's other times I'll see him where I think he'll kind of have his eyes in the wrong place. He'll maybe be in the wrong gap at times. But I think that's just the nature of him being only playing a position for 1 year. And I don't think it was egregious enough to where it's a problem, but I don't think like playing a run is like a super strength of his, but I think it's something that could develop. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's like my favorite player for them in round one, but I would understand the pick because I think he could develop to be as good as he want to be based on like his skill set and how he fits the current NFL. And the important thing is I think he can match up against like those athletic tight ends. And that's important, right? Because he's a big player. I think he's 6'3", 230, 235 or something like that. And he can run and he has loose hips. So the skill set is there. Everything that you want out of a player with high upside is there. And you would like to think that with him being young to the position that he can continue to grow into it. And maybe he's just scratching the surface. So those are just like some initial thoughts I had with him.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw him get exploited in the run game though. Like I don't think he ever opened anything up for anybody. And I do think like when you watch, I think that there's a thing I do when I watch linebackers and you're watching 150 plays in a row. Like it's you can fall into the thing like, oh, this guy isn't making enough impact, or it's a position where you can get a false sense of the player by kind of like watching too much. And it's like, yeah, I think the nature of the position that, there are going to be times where like the running back makes a good cut and you get caught. Like it's going to happen. It's just, is it an epidemic thing? I don't think it is with him. He will probably get better at it. I also think this player and the way they use him is a perfect example of why you shouldn't try to evaluate a player off a TV tape, because a lot of the stuff he did, like, man, he kind of be sitting like it in a zone, and then like someone would come through a zone, then that's when he turns and goes, and like you aren't seeing the turn and go on the TV tape. It's just like he kind of just dropped out of the zone, and you aren't going to see that. So
that's so true, bro.
Yeah.
Because when I found some all 22, I was like, oh, okay, a little bit different evaluation. Totally agree with you. That you couldn't be more right there. Because I was able to see the Florida game, whole field, right? Some all 22, and I think we both watched that same tape. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I get it, right? And everything else was TV copying. Like you said, I mean, this guy's athletic, man. This guy he's an athlete. He's an easy athlete too. Like he's not the next guy, but he's not lacking in the athletic department. And so when you're able to see him move in space like that, you get a much better feel for him. So I'll be honest with you. Like if I didn't get that all 22 view of him, I think my evaluation probably would have been a little bit different. Because, like you said, you just get into the flow of watching these guys and it's like, man, there's, no plays are being made. He's sometime in the run game, sometime, it's just nothing there. And then you get to see him play in space, and it's a different thing. I mean, I even think you can I think he's a linebacker, but I think he has like some position flexibility in the sense that maybe you can like rush him. He can be like a good blitzer. I think he can like kind of play like as an overhang defender at times too. So he's a good prospect, man. I mean, he has everything that you want in a linebacker. I think he has a lot of growing to do, which is good. I think there's some meat left on the bone there with him. Their upside is there, and the athletic profile definitely fits. So if they, if him and Farley are on the board, right? Like, or let me simplify it a little bit. How would you rate them? Like, would you, if you had to grade them like a big board, for instance, right? You know, this is my top 50 players, and both of those guys are on it. Who would be higher?
Oh, Farley.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I totally agree there. I think Farley's a little different, man. I don't know. He just looked like a first round corner like the minute I've put on the tape. And with, like I said, with Davis, I kind of have to watch him a little bit more and, you know, just get a feel for him. But I think he's a good prospect. If, you know, how would you feel about if they took him in the first round? Like, you know, would that be in your mind like a, you know, if you're Nick the GM and the Saints pick, Yamin Davis. I get this. I always try to put a Y in his name.
Is it Jamin?
Is it Jamin? It's Jamin. Yeah. It's Jamin Davis.
Yeah, Jamin.
Oh, you know, I was joking with someone. Yeah, I was making a Jamaican joke, and I said Yamin Davis, and I kept calling him that all day.
Ah, man.
Really weird. My wife is Jamaican, right? So we like joke Jamaican all day around the house, and yeah. Anyway, it's Jamin Davis. Sorry, man. But yeah, anyway, if they pick him in the first round, like, what would be your take on it, right? How would you feel about him as a player there?
Yeah, I'd like to pick. I'd be extremely positive about it. I'd be excited to watch him play. I think he's going to be a really good NFL player.
Yeah,
he's got, like you said, he's got everything you want in a linebacker. I like the size too.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't think there's ever going to be an issue with him getting out physical, and he can run with players.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody. Yeah. He's a 4-4.
So it's not like he's sacrificing anything with the, you know, being a bigger guy. So yeah, I like him a lot. I'm a fan of the game, his game. And if the Saints got him, I think he would be, I mean, him and DeMario together would be just an outstanding combination.
Yeah. And that's
but the problem is you have a massive hole at cornerback.
Ooh, yeah, massive. Yeah, big time. Marshawn gets to write his own check if you know, because the need becomes even more. Yeah, I think that you make one thing you say is like he has like the size that is you're getting a lot of these linebackers who come into the league at 220, 225, 230. You know, will be big for a lot of these guys, and you know he's one of those players who, I mean, this guy may not even be done filling out his frame, right? You know, for all we know, he might get in the NFL weight room and, you know, become a big guy. I think he started off at Michigan, I want to say, but you know, regardless, you know, they would have two of the, you know, bigger linebackers basically combo in the league, because I think DeMario's like what 245 or something like that. He's not a small linebacker at all, and so it just be. Not. Yeah, it'd be interesting to have two linebackers that are like that have that size where the NFL is kind of going, you know, maybe the opposite direction, but without you know, sacrificing the athleticism that is the reason why we have these smaller linebackers, which you kind of get the best of both worlds there because Demario Davis is physical. He hits you and you stop, right? Like you don't keep going, but he's also like this. He doesn't lack athleticism for the position, so it'd be an interesting pick. All right. Let's go on. Let's start with the second. Why don't you start? You want to start the second guy off too? Because your take, you know, your takes are, you know, you're the man they want to hear. So I'll kick it off. I'll let you kick it off. But the next guy we chose to watch is linebacker from Notre Dame,
Jeremiah
Owusu-Koramoah.
There you go. I'm going to call him JOK from here on forth. But yes. Yo, I listened to like people say his name like 8 times in preparation for this, man. Like I had to, yeah.
Owusu-Koramoah. Yeah, I was the same. I was like, I'm gonna get this guy's name right.
So my very first note: this guy does everything.
Woo.
Covers the slot, deep zone, blitzes. He does everything well. His movement in space is absolutely incredible.
I'm sweating.
He weighs 221. Quan is listed at 227. Modern linebacker profiles changing at this position. We just kind of discussed this. He's a little light, but his explosiveness makes up for the lack of size. He has good tackles. Have put a good tackle on Najee Harris. So, I mean, I don't think this is really a significant issue. I think to some degree his tackling is a little bit, there's a little bit, you know, a little bit of a strength issue, but it is, I don't think it's like
Oh, what's the kid?
The LSU linebacker we looked at last year.
Patrick Queen from last year.
Yeah,
didn't want nothing to do with the running game.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same issue with the tackling, although they're the same size. Yeah, I don't think it's. So like if he was like hitting like Latavius Murray open field, like I think there could be, if he's flat and doesn't have a running start, like yeah, maybe there's a little bit, but I think he's gonna make a good hit on the guy. Like I don't think it's a big issue, but there are times where I think his tackling could leave something to be desired. But look, he isn't missing a ton of tackles. Like Quan misses a ton of tackles. He's still a very useful linebacker. So you can give up a little bit there and kind of cover it up. Great instinct, sees the field well, diagnosability is really high. He knows how to fill gaps and makes the right decisions. And, I think his scheme flexibility is off the charts. You can put him literally anywhere. You can cover a slot receiver. He's going to be able to cover tight ends.
Yeah.
You could play him as a deep safety. He's a will linebacker. Like he can do everything. And if you wanted to keep him affixed to linebacker, I don't think it's, I've seen people say, maybe he's more of a safety. I think he can play linebacker. I think he could play safety.
Me too.
I don't think it's really I don't think it's like he doesn't have a position. I think he has two legitimate positions.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think he could maybe even be a slot receiver. I mean, a slot cornerback at times, man, the way he moves.
Yeah. So, again, that's the main thing. I don't think it's like, I think sometimes people get scared with these players where they're like, well, he can do like 8 different things, but like he can't really do one thing. No, this guy does a lot of things really, really, really well. Yeah. So, yeah, he's up there. I'm like, I like this guy a lot.
So my scouting report on him is yes. That's all I got to say. Because, bro, listen, like I text you, I was like, this dude's different. I was like, he's different. Like when he took his first step, I was like, he's moving different than everybody else on the field. I think the first tape that I watched, sometimes these guys that they do the film and they circle the player, right? So they show you where he is. And this one, I think the first one I watched, I want to say maybe it didn't. And I just knew, I was like, this has got to be him. Like this is, I mean, I've heard about him and I hadn't read any scouting reports. I try not to read about, I try to listen to no one's opinion about a guy before I watch him, right? And then, I'll read something to see if I miss something. But when I saw it, I was like, yo, this guy moves at a different frequency than everybody else on the field. Everything he does is explosive. Like, I think this guy, like, if he would have been 2 inches taller, 3 inches taller, maybe, I think he would have been an elite pass rusher. Straight up. Like, I think he could be like
the blitzing was crazy.
Oh, bro. I think he'd be a edge bending, like DeMarcus Ware turning the corner, like, and this is gonna sound a little crazy. But I'm not comparing the players. I'm just saying like something that I noticed when I saw them both on film. I remember when I first watched Myles Garrett when he was at Texas A&M, and the way he moved as a pass rusher, I was like, this guy's he just moves a little different than everybody else. Like he had this flexible Gumby like body. I don't know what to say it, but he just moved a little bit different. And when I watched JOK, that's what we're gonna call him, I got the same feeling. I was like, he's just moving like at a different frequency than everybody else. Everything you said, I agree with it. You can play him anywhere, slot, overhang, stack. I mean, he lined up on the line of scrimmage. And you see a player like this, he's 216, and I'm like, okay,
221. Well, he weighed in at 221 at his pro day.
Yeah, but he didn't play at 221. He gained.
Well, I mean, he's gaining weight. Yeah,
he played at like 216, 210 or something, I think.
Yeah, and I think he has the frame to even add like a little more weight.
So, absolutely. Yeah. But I didn't see a guy who lacked physicality or nothing like that. I didn't see a guy who I'm saying, okay, this is going to be a smaller linebacker who can't deal with the contact of the game. Like, do you remember that hit? What's the one where he came off the edge and hit that guy and like, I think, it was Florida State. I mean, he put the Florida State linebacker like in another planet. Like, I mean, he almost took the guy out the game. That Florida State tape is probably like that may be his best tape that I saw. But I don't know. I mean, he's just good, man. He's good. And the thing about him, he's a playmaker. He finds the football. And I don't know what it is about certain guys that they're always around the football, but I think he has it. Right. And he's just the interception that he got against Florida State. I mean, the ball just found him. He's taken, man. I take him at 28 and not think twice.
Yeah, I don't really understand why we're talking about him in this range, and it seems to be where everybody has him.
Yeah,
like I've like my biggest question is like, why isn't he being talked about higher in the draft? Like, is he really going to be available in that range? It would be a significant surprise. Honestly, yeah.
Because I remember the kid from Michigan and LSU, White and I guess White, the Steelers picked them. Both of those guys went high. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, why is he not in that range? So I totally get where you're coming from.
The only thing I saw from him, and this is like really a huge nitpick, but the one thing I did not like is there was a game he blitzed and he had the quarterback and he missed the sack. Something happened and there was a fumble and they got the ball back and he looked and seen them recover the ball, but like he continued to be angry about not making the play. And it was like, dude, your team just got the ball.
I think that was
the only thing.
Was that was either Syracuse or Boston College?
I can't remember, but whatever it was, though, that was the only thing. I was like, this is kind of like a little bit of a weird reaction to this moment. That was the only thing.
I didn't think he saw it.
That's fine. Though.
Yeah, I didn't think he saw it. Yeah, I didn't think he saw it, but I know exactly the play you're talking about because I know exactly. I think it was Boston College. I want to say it was Boston College.
It was a great blitz.
Yeah, or it might have been Florida State, man. No, but it was like he got there on the blitz, didn't get there. The guy fumbled when he came in, and but I know I get what you're saying. I kind of watched that a couple of times. Like, man, is he pouting or?
Okay, so you saw what I was talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Maybe he didn't see it. Not again. I don't necessarily think that's a huge deal, but that was the only thing. I was like, why? Like, why are you mad? Your team just got the ball. That was the only thing. That was like my major. Like,
you got to find something about this guy that you don't like. Yeah, because, I'm with you. I think I did see him like, and this he had this. The other player I thought you were talking about, I forget what game it was, but I watched five of his games, excuse me. And like he had this beeline, like a Craig Robinson type beeline to the quarterback, and he just missed him. I don't know how he missed him. I think he was trying to play it was like a zone read type play, and he missed him. But I would say the thing that if I have to say a negative about him is that I don't think he's not like the biggest hitter, like unless he gets unless he gets going, right? Like if he's coming at you and he gets some momentum, then you're going backwards, right? But I don't think he's like a hard hitter in short area, right? I guess that's how I would explain it. But he's too.
That was kind of the thing I was saying about like Murray. If he didn't have like I had to see him and Murray was coming at him, I don't think that he's gonna. Yeah, that's probably not the play he's going to make.
Exactly, or he may just wrap him up, or he's going to give up 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah,
after the tackle. But man, he is the most twitched up kid you're going to find. Like he just like I said, he just moves in a different way, and I think you can deploy him as a blitzer, similar to how the Saints deployed Demario Davis, because I think if you try to block him with a running back, you're not going to find much success. And if he's coming at an offensive lineman with a head of steam, with his ability to be flexible, to bend, to change directions, I think they're gonna find a little bit of trouble dealing with him too. He's a fun guy to watch, man. I mean, like I'm glad I didn't watch him first and then Davis second, because I probably would have been maybe a little bit further down. I'd have probably like not like Davis as much, because the tape is like totally like they're two totally different like type of guys. So I'm actually the same question that I asked you when it came to Davis. If Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is on the board at 28 and Caleb Farley is on the board at 28, who are you taking?
Farley.
Okay. Yeah, I may have to go JOK. I think
I'd take Newsome before him too. Like you just have to.
Are you going? Oh, see, I would rather draft the better player and deal with a need than to. Yeah, I would go with just personally. Sign Richard Sherman. Figure it out next year. Free agency next year. Like, don't pass up on like you're not. It's just not a lot of guys like that, I guess. But I understand the thought process. But I think I would go with the linebacker, because I just think he's probably a better prospect than Farley. But I understand. I mean, Farley's good, and Farley didn't play in 2020, so I'm like, I think a little bit of me is saying like, okay, you don't know what's up with that. I mean, I saw the Notre Dame kid, JOK. He played against Alabama, Florida State, and Clemson were 3 of the 5 games I watched. So I saw it against like the competition. So I was pretty impressed with him. So, but I get your point though.
Yeah, look, there's a couple people in the chat talking about BPA. Like BPA is a myth in the way that people talk about it. Like it's best player available at a position in need. And there's 2 axes on their board. There's a need axis and a best player available axis, and they have to match. It's not just a linear thing. There's a vertical element to it as well. So
yeah,
my personal belief is that I think cornerback is so much farther high up that board on the need thing, and I think linebacker's number 2 right behind it. I do, but I think the gap, if you were like spacing the magnets, like it's just going to be, you're on floor 27 with cornerback, and linebackers that's on fair. The first floor, relatively speaking. So
that's fair.
That's why I go that way. I think JOK's much better than
Davis.
Yeah, and I think he's better than I'd take Farley before him, I think, but after that, like I think I'd in an even
I was going to ask you if you did a big board, who would you put first?
Yeah, so I would probably put Farley ahead of him, and then probably him like right next to him. Like they're kind of side by side in my mind, honestly.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I mean, man, I don't want to like have to justify this, but Farley's tape was really good. Like he had really good tape. I will admit, it's hard. Not the fact that I know about it and I know about the surgery. It's like it's hard for me to like not take his back injury into account. So there may be some bias there. It's like you can't unsee it, right? It's like in your brain. So I think that may be part of the calculus there, but.
Could be my thought too. Like I think that you could probably get by with Chase Hansen or whoever, and then play it out, bring Quan back, and you're fine. Like you can hide that other. They hid the other linebacker alongside Demario Davis for years.
Yeah,
years.
Fair, because
granted, you bring in a guy who's good, and I think it changes your defense. But you can hide that, like we were saying earlier. Like, look, if you sign Richard Sherman, maybe it works. Maybe he's old.
Maybe he is old. We know that.
And maybe he looks old. And
yeah, that's fair.
You can't hide that. You can't hide it.
That's fair. To your point, I think that you can, and I think these are like the type of decisions like that you have to make in the draft. From if guys, let's say he's my number 15th ranked prospect, JOK is right, and then Farley's my number 17 or 18. Well, if this is, I think you can get in this draft, particularly, I think you can get like a linebacker in the 2nd or 3rd round and still get a good player. Whereas cornerback, after you get out the 1st round, man, gets a little weird, right? 2nd round, still high chance. Once you can start getting cornerbacks in those later rounds, the hit rate drops off a cliff, right? And so, to your point, I understand, that train of thought, because it's just a much it's a premium position. Like you have to draft cornerbacks high, right? Or pay a ransom in free agency. So
let's just be real about it. The Saints haven't built their team to the point where they can afford to go best player available. And on those needs, like, oh, we need a DT, we need a linebacker, we need a cornerback. Let's just take the best one at any one of these 3 positions. They haven't built their team to afford themselves that luxury. They just haven't. And that's kind of where they're at right now. So if there were, a linebacker in some corner, you have to go with the cornerback. It's just the way that their team's constructed right now.
Yeah. A year ago, maybe you're in a little bit different position with your decision-making process.
Yeah.
But
they have been in the past. Yeah, 100%. It's there's the multiple players and there's the positions in need, and you can do a more true BPA, but they aren't there. Last year they weren't there. They had to get an interior offensive lineman. I mean,
yeah. That was a need. That was a need pick. I don't care what no one says, right? And I mean, most teams draft need. Like, I'm glad you said what you said about BPA being a myth, because I mean, if that was the case, you'd have 3 offensive tackles and 4 running backs, right? You can't tell me certain running backs are not like Alvin Kamara. Well, that's a bad example, but the running backs get drafted lower because of positional value. Right. So I think the BPA, it's a cross between BPA need, and just positional value, and all those things go into a draft pick, right?
Yeah.
The Saints. Go ahead.
It's not a myth. It's a myth in how like people are just like always take the best player available. No, it's just that's not. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you can't tell me they didn't need they released Larry Warford. I mean, they were going to release Sean. Basically, verbally released him before he got released, and then they drafted a guard. Like, that's a need pick.
Yeah, they tried to sign some guards that didn't work out. They drafted one.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's an absolute need pick. So I'm thinking we're probably going to see something similar this year. And like, say for instance, the kid from a quarterback, right? The quarterbacks, how many times a quarterback the best player available when you pick them? Rarely, right? Maybe Lawrence, right? And or if BPA went through, if it was always BPA, then maybe Kyle Pitts would be the first pick, not Trevor Lawrence, right? So it's impossible to like take need out of the equation just because you got to build a team, you got to line guys up. So make a good point.
Hey, you see this thing in European soccer where they're making the Super League?
No, I read something about Manchester United. I think I kept scrolling. I know.
So yeah, like a bunch of teams like broke away, and they kind of now that they were starting their own. They were replacing like a Champions League thing.
Okay,
a bunch of teams already pulled out. I was curious, so like if you had to take like 8 teams.
Oh, soccer?
No, NFL teams. Like we were making an NFL super team league.
Oh,
like who's your first pick? Who's your first pick as a team?
Man,
we'll throw the Saints in there. We'll do Saints number 1. So who's the next team?
Chiefs, right?
I mean, you're doing the Chiefs.
You gotta pick the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Gosh. Like, so
Green
let
Bay.
me.
I'll do the next one. I'm gonna say Green Bay. I think that they got the heritage. They're 13-3. They're good every year.
So let me get this. What are the qualifications that we're talking about here? Because
just who are like the 8 teams that you think are kind of like the signature good teams in the NFL? If they were going to break away and start their own gritty league and say, screw all the poverty franchises, we're going to go and we're going to do this on our own. In these are the teams that are in the
okay,
we're the signature franchises of the NFL, and screw everybody else.
Okay,
but I think there needs to be like I wouldn't put Dallas in. I think they're a signature franchise, but like I don't think
I'm glad you read my mind because I didn't want to be the one to put the Cowboys.
So we're gonna do 2 axes here, right? There's got to be like a legacy axis and like a
relevancy,
quality axis.
Okay,
yeah,
okay, you got to.
And I don't think Dallas has been good enough recently to be one of my 8 teams. So we're starting with the Saints, the Chiefs, and Green Bay. Do you have any argument on any of those 3?
I think that, man, I'm gonna go with the Bills, man.
Are you going Bills? Okay.
Yeah, that's a young, exciting team with a young quarterback. I mean, like they got the history. They went to 12 straight Super Bowls, lost them all, right? And yeah, and then you got a young quarterback who's like, it looks like he's going to be like elite, like got the best arm in the NFL. Like, what's not to like about? If you're a Buffalo Bill fan, congratulations. If you're like Santa Griselda, like you got the rap side, the football side, like you got West Side giving you merch, like you winning, man. So I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
I guess I'll go with the Steelers. They're consistently good. One of the signature franchises of the league. They're on the backside, but I kind of feel like they're one of those teams that are going to be able to figure it out and remain good and relevant for a long time. They're just always right there. So where are we at? We're at 5.
Yeah, I'm looking. And I just went to go look through like all the list of teams just to make sure like I didn't leave anyone out. So, I don't know if this team belongs on this list. How do the Patriots factor into this? That's the
one that I was thinking about that while you were kind of going through your thing.
Yeah, like I was just like, what do I do with this team? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this team. Let me pick a different team.
Let's go like this. I think you got to put Tampa Bay in because they're the Super Bowl champs.
No, forget that.
And as soon as Brady goes, they get relegated, and we'll allow the Patriots to take their place.
Okay, all right. So then they're like a opt-in or something. All right, let me pick a different team. Right, there's 2 teams that I think belong on this list. The second team maybe more so than the team I'm about to mention. I'm going to say the San Francisco 49ers. I think Kyle Shanahan is elite at what he does. He's about to pick a quarterback, and I think it's going to be fun to watch them in the upcoming years. I think they get Bosa back. Their defense is probably going to start to pick back up. Kyle he's going to get his guy a quarterback. I think the 49ers are a team to keep an eye on. I'm going to go San Francisco. And I don't like that team. I can't stand them. But if I'm a 49er fan, I'm excited about what Kyle is about to do with the quarterback. So it's just like a young, exciting team with a history. It kind of like, it's kind of like both. It's a good intersection, but between the two, the two criteria that we came up with.
But how many teams do we have in right now? I don't even know.
So we got the Saints, we got the Bucks, we got Kansas City, we got Green Bay, we got the Bills, and now we got San Francisco. So we get two
Pittsburgh.
more. Oh, Pittsburgh. 7-1. All right. Let's do. All right. I got another team I got to put in there if you don't put them in there, but go ahead.
All right. I'm going to go Seattle.
Okay. That's a good one. I thought about that one.
We can take it out to 10 if you got more to go.
Yeah.
Seattle. I think Seattle's self-explanatory at this point.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's a good team. I have to put in Baltimore. I can't leave them out. They're just always good. They won some AFL Super Bowls or something, and then some in a recent one. So, yeah, I'm definitely going Baltimore.
And then I think I'll finish it off with the Rams. I think the Rams will be the last team.
Let me think about that. I don't know, man. What's your thought process behind that?
I think they're a good team. They got an outstanding defense. Stafford's going to make them better, and I think they're probably going to be in the mix for quite a while. Okay,
I can dig it. I understand.
If you were picking like one bad team to put in,
what do you mean bad? Like define bad?
Like a team that isn't very good right now, but you think has like upside. I can throw one out there.
I got one for you. I got a really good one for you. Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, that was going to be mine.
Yeah. I almost put them in because just of the quarterback. That kid had a rookie year that was ridiculous. Like he was so good, bro. Like he was amazing. Yeah, I'm definitely going like Chargers. Like that's the easy one for me.
I would say Cardinals. I feel like that's kind of cheating. The Jags are excited to have Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go Cincinnati just because if we're doing this, I want to we can watch Joe Burrow every week and kind of see how it goes. Yeah.
What about the Dolphins? They got a ton of draft picks, a young court. I don't think Tua is going to be good, but we'll see.
They were 10-6, so that's kind of cheating if we're like going like bad team in.
Oh well, I'm okay. Forget the bad team. I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah,
history there, young quarterback, relevant. Yeah, no Dolphins.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. All right, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's a good. You bring up a good. That's an interesting exercise because like Jacksonville, they're about to have the first pick. They got another first. They got 2 first-round picks. Young quarterback. I mean, that's it. If you're a Jags fan, you're excited, right? I mean,
I question the coach.
I big time question the coach. Big time question the coach.
Bro, he was talking about like facilities. It was like this isn't college football, man. Like the facilities isn't early. We're gonna have the best facility. Like cool. So does everybody.
And he hired that.
Everybody's got the best facilities.
Yeah. No. I mean, we know what's up with that. I don't think that was a good hire, but at the end of the day, they're about to take Trevor Lawrence, right? And that's exciting, right? That's exciting. Yeah, there was some team there. I'm glad you said the Bengals. That was another team I looked at. The Jets are kind of interesting. I feel like they're going to be interesting. Like I want to watch the Jets. I'll be honest with you. Like I want to watch them this year because I want to see this Wilson kid play. Like
I'll figure it out, man. I'll believe it when they're like functional.
Oh yeah, you
like,
grew up
they're the most. They're the most dysfunctional. They might be the most dysfunctional franchise in professional sports.
I think you're right. But I kind of feel like I don't know. I kind of feel like
it's either them or the Knicks.
Ooh, that's dysfunction. That's dysfunction. That's big time dysfunction. Like I know Knicks fans right now. They're saying like, quit being good because you're never gonna like this team isn't good enough to get anywhere. So it's just a waste of being like you're like barely above 500 team, and it's a waste. So, man, there's another team that if I had to, gosh, I'm about to you're gonna have to find a new podcast host after this. You know, a team that I think is going to eventually end up being good. I'm kind of scared that the Panthers are going to end up being good.
I'm not there.
Yeah, and I don't think I think it's because of the head coach and like the owner. They have like this analytical view where they approach stuff, and I just think it could potentially work. I think it could. I don't know if it is, but I think Rule is one of those guys where like I think he operates a little bit different, and I could see it maybe being successful in the NFL. We'll see. I'm not guaranteed yet, but like I'm watching it, right?
Because year one was kind of rough, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he had a crappy defense, and Teddy wasn't playing well, and the offensive coordinator don't know what he's doing yet. So I think we'll see. I mean, he's in charge of those hires, right? But I just it's an interesting team. I'll say that, just like how they run their organization and stuff like that. Like that's kind of what I'm interested in. Like the owner is like one of those guys, and I think it'll just be interesting to kind of pay attention to. But we'll see. All right, man. Well, I think we're over an hour. So, guys, the draft is coming up pretty soon. So make sure you guys, if you haven't listened to the previous pod, please go check it out. Me and Nick went and watched as a player, kind of went in depth on his strengths, his weaknesses, and what we think of him. And tell someone else if you listen to it, excuse me, and you feel like someone else may appreciate it. So shoot that their way. Make sure you go to NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. A few different options there. You can read the articles. You can buy some shirts. You can give some subscriptions to someone else. Pretty much anything you want there. So go there, support. We really appreciate it. It kind of keeps this thing going. NewOrleans.network is alive and well. So, you guys can go there and find some stuff pretty much all over, man. We're expanding. We're doing some things. This is just a start. Nick got a bunch of plans. He's like this mad scientist who sits up, texting me at like 2 a.m, asking me for ideas, and I act like I'm asleep, and then text him in the morning and reply to it. I just snitched on myself on wax. But no, all serious, man. Thank you guys for supporting. Make sure you guys go to NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. There is you can save $12 on the annual plan with code year 2. Year 2, as in this is year 2 for NewOrleans.Football, no specific player, right? So make sure you guys do that. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for joining us live. We'll see you next week. We out.